Hey guys, Dr. 5 here with episode number 4 of the EAFC 24 career mode with West Ham. Last episode we ended off with the unfortunate defeat against Man City. We were 2-0 up in that one and they just flipped it on its head and they won 5-2 in the end of that game. This one against Liverpool, it's just the worst scenario. City to Liverpool back to back. Zuma, very silly challenge there on Luis Diaz. Pretty fortunate really not to get brought back straight away. You can see why the referee did play advantage, because it did eventually end up in a Cody Gakpo goal. 6 minutes in, we're 1-0 down and Kurt Zuma is now on a yellow card. Not the best of starts to the game here at Anfield, as Ward-Prowse on the turn shoots just wide of the post. But something this season has been very, very clear to me. We can score a lot of goals, especially from set pieces with Ward-Prowse. The height we have is absolutely incredible, how clinical we are from set pieces, but we do just love to concede a lot of goals as well. A lovely through ball there to Tammy Abraham. He holds off Virgil van Dijk and then slots it past Alisson. And I do believe Tammy Abraham is the top goal scorer in the league this season, so we've made a nice little signing there. And actually, for relatively cheap, all things considered. But yeah, 1-1 here against Liverpool. Poor from Aguerd there, should be doing better. Kyle Walker-Peters is out of position. Joe Gomez, of all people, puts the ball into the back of the net. I do actually believe that Trent in this career mode doesn't play for Liverpool anymore. I think he signed for Dortmund in this career mode. So that's a pretty bizarre transfer, but I like it. I like these rogue transfers out of nowhere. But yeah, defensively this season, we have been terrible. Offensively, we've been brilliant. Obviously, we scored twice against City. We've scored here against Liverpool. Yes, we've conceded now 3 goals against them, but we can score against the big teams. Against Chelsea, we beat them 1-0. 2-1 was it? I think it was 2-1. So we proved in that game that we can hold off these big teams in terms of goals. But yeah, I mean, the 6-1 against Luton was absolutely brilliant. We've had a couple of high scoring games in the other competitions, but yeah, not quite in the Premier League. I don't think we've kept a clean sheet in the Premier League yet, which is absolutely insane considering we're on match day 6 or 7 now. But yeah, we're going to the second half here against Liverpool. We're 3-1 down. Cody Gakpo with a great strike. Great save from Fabianski. I do think the next upgrade I'm going to make on this team is going to be a goalkeeper. I'm not the biggest fan of Areola. His few games he had in this team, he was absolutely terrible. Fabianski hasn't really improved the team much, and I might just put Areola back in the team because he is younger and probably more likely to grow than Fabianski, even though they're both, I think, over 30. Just saw there, one of the most powerful shots I've ever seen there. Gravenberch with an insane finish. The amount of power he got on that was incredible. No keeper in the world saving that. So, fair play. I'll give Fabianski that one. We do go and score a second here in the 69th minute. It is Tammy Abraham once again. So he's kind of backing up the decision we made to sign him. Walker-Peters, he's been an upgrade on Cresswell. I wouldn't say he's lit the world up from his left-back position. Obviously, it's maybe not because he can play a left-back, but he's not a natural left-back. That might be why. Great block there on the Endo strike. Unfortunate that it falls just perfectly back to him. 5-2, back-to-back 5-2s to City and Liverpool. Not the greatest of defensive performances, but they're the team we're expected to lose against them. Maybe not 5-2, but there are teams we probably don't expect to beat, especially Liverpool at Anfield. Now, time for us to maybe get some revenge here, because if you remember the first game of the season, we played Bournemouth. They beat us 5-3, I think it was. So, continuing the trend of loving to concede a lot of goals, continuing the trend of loving to score quite a lot of goals. But 3 minutes into this one, a lovely ball from Willy Gnonto finds Antonio, and he finds Mohamed Kudus, who goes and scores his 3rd goal in the Carabao Cup. He's not quite been as good in the league when he does play, maybe again because he's playing on the left-hand side instead of on the right-hand side, but Jarrod Bowen has just been better on that right-hand side. And then Paqueta in the middle, so we've kind of not really got anywhere to play Kudus in some of his natural positions. An incredible strike by Amiri there, makes it 1-1. Their first shot of the game. Of course it goes in on ultimate difficulty. But yeah, I don't know what to do. I'll probably look to sign a new goalkeeper, but who do I sign? I don't really know. Strikers are perfect. Midfield is basically perfect. Defence is a bit shaky. So over the next few transfers windows, I think the defence is definitely where we are going to rebuild. But Rooney Badji, the man who was gifted to us by Copenhagen in offer for Ben Johnson. I think we absolutely robbed him there. We took one of the best kind of young attackers in world football, the young Swede, and he goes and scores his first goal against Bournemouth first goal for West Ham, should I say, against Bournemouth in the Carabao Cup. But that lead did not last for very long because, once again, Amiri goes and scores for Bournemouth, and he goes and scores with Bournemouth's second shot to make it 2-2. Yeah, I think you can see the trend here in this one. Here, Antonio nods it down into the back of the net just before half-time. He makes it 3-2. So we're continuing this God-forsaken trend of scoring lots, but also conceding lots. I'd love to win a game 1-0. Just 1-0. Keep a clean sheet. A scrappy 1-0 with a last-minute winner. That'd be perfect right now because we are just loving to concede goals again. Coming down our left-hand side, it's just not working out. I think the whole defence needs to be rejuvenised at some point because I just cannot continue this kind of trend. It's not a stable trend because at some point we are going to stop scoring as many goals as we are, and we're going to keep conceding, and we're not going to be able to keep up the pace of outscoring the other team. So, and I mean that's just going to result in us plummeting down the league table. We're already in about 9th or 10th place right now in the league, so we do need to just be careful of that. And in the final minute of this game, Acosta strikes from distance, and we're knocked out of the Carabao Cup by Bournemouth. 4-3 loss. That is back-to-back defeats. We've scored 7 goals. We've conceded 14. It's a bit embarrassing, really. But yeah, we're out the Carabao Cup. I wanted to do well in that competition, but yeah, not really given the chance. Great start to the game against Sheffield United, though, a team we should be beating, very similar to Luton. We should be dominating this game, and a nice start from Tammy. We are absolutely deadly from set pieces, I will say that, because of the accuracy of James Ward-Prowse's set pieces, the height we have with Paqueta, with Tammy, with Zuma, with Aguerd, Susek, Alvarez. They're all absolutely giant. And just proving it there, Lucas Paqueta, 10 minutes after Tammy Abraham scores from a corner, the Brazilian goes and scores. He doubles our lead. 2-0 is now the score here against Sheffield. And things are looking good. These boys, they're not as good as Liverpool. They're not as good as City, and seemingly they're not as good as Bournemouth, who seem to be a world-class team as well. But Kudus plays the ball into Paqueta, a lovely through ball to Tammy. And yeah, Tammy has been a brilliant signing this season. £29.5 million from Roma. Obviously, they've got Lukaku and Belotti, so they could afford to let him go. We needed a striker, a first-team striker. And yeah, he has paid us back already this season. He has been the main man up top, and he has been the main focal point. And one of the main reasons we actually have points on the board, because he is helping us outscore teams. Him and Lucas Paqueta. Without them, we'd be screwed. So that's actually another position I'm going to look to invest in some new players, because I think Antonio and Danny Ings well, Antonio definitely only has 6 months left in his contract. I'm probably not going to renew that because of his age, and I think we can get a better talent on the market. And then Danny Ings just hasn't played since we've signed, so he will probably also be either sold or released or something at the end of the season. So we do need a new backup striker for Tammy. And if we change system, we could even go for a 2-man up top system, with Tammy getting a nice little partner, maybe a 4-4-2 or something like that. But yeah, 3-1 is the score here against Sheffield United. And actually in this second half, they've kind of, similar to the game against City, they have absolutely just turned something around and they've started dominating us. We cannot get a chance in this second half. So yeah, some things just need to change, and hopefully they change quickly, and hopefully we can continue our nice form, continuing to score goals, just not conceding as many. But the game is going to just peter out here as a 3-1 victory for ourselves. Great first half, bit of a shaky second half, but we did seem to pick it up into the kind of later stages of this game, and just see it out. There was no real discomfort in this game. It really seemed like Sheffield were going to beat us, and Tammy was kind of unlucky there. He was played through, referee blew his whistle, he was on for a hat-trick. Bit disappointing that Tammy couldn't get that, but we move on now into what is going to be the final game of today's episode. It is back in the Europa League, and we are, I think this team, Hatayspor, they sound Turkish, so a nice little away trip to Turkey. The rotated team is out there. We've got quite a nice rotational team. Willy Gnonto, actually, I will say, it seems like he's not done anything. I don't think he's scored. He's probably got a few assists, but he's not been as good as I wanted him to be. I wanted him to be competing with Said Benrahma, with Kudus, with Fornals maybe on that left-hand side, but I'm giving him these rotational games and he's just not really performing as well as I want him to, which is unfortunate. We do go 1-0 up. It is Fornals that grabs the goal for ourselves. This is the type of game where I want to keep a clean sheet against some team in the Europa League from a random country where we are we are obviously the more dominant team. We are obviously the better team. I want to be keeping a clean sheet in this game. Yes, I've rotated, but Mavropanos and Kehler are more than good enough to compete against these types of players. And, from the highlights you're seeing, seemingly not, because they are creating a lot of chances. They do put one in the back of the net. Thankfully, he was offside. But, yeah, I mean, it's been a strange one this season so far. And, hopefully it'd be nice, it'd be fun if it continued, but hopefully it doesn't continue. Hopefully we can put a butt in the goals conceded, because that is not going to end nicely if it continues. Pablo Fornals, though, does go and get his second goal of the game. He makes it 2-0 to ourselves, and things are going quite well, really, all things considered. And we've obviously, it's disappointing to get knocked out of the Carabao Cup. We're looking good, though, in the Europa League. I know this is only the second game, but things are seemingly pointing towards us topping our group. The league, we're mid-table, but we do have a game in hand, so maybe we can jump up a few spots there. The next game we play in next episode is going to be Newcastle. So, I mean, you can imagine, especially with the result that they picked up in real life this weekend against Sheffield, the 8-0, we're probably going to concede a lot to them. Then we've got Villa, another great attacking team, probably going to concede a lot to them. Then we've got Everton, so maybe Everton can be where we switch it around and don't concede quite so many, but yeah, I don't really see much optimism in terms of our defence over these next few weeks unless we change something drastically to like 5 at the back or something like that, but I don't want to do that. So yeah, we want to stay with this 4, because going 5 at the back means I've got to get rid of an attacker, and if I get rid of an attacker, I'm not going to be able to score as many goals if we do concede a lot of goals. Speaking of Danny Ings, I was speaking about him a minute ago. He goes and scores his first goal of the season here. We're 4-0 up. I'm just begging at this point. Please do not concede. Please, can we keep a clean sheet in this one? Mavropanos can't clear the ball away. It's played across to Hernandez. Areola gets his hands on it and it just goes into the back of the net. He gets his hands on it. He's got his pop-it-on wrists on it. And it breaks through and we do concede to make it 4-1. So no clean sheet for ourselves. And then Fernandez finds Hernandez. Hernandez finds Strandenberg. He plays it back to Hernandez, the goal scorer. He shoots. He scores. So we go and concede twice in the last stages of the game. Quite embarrassingly. But that is going to be it for this episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. If you have, please like, subscribe, and peace.